1 minute before we start with the program. One more minute. Where are the others? Where are the others? Your presence doesn't count. Is it? Are we going to dance? We can dance together. Are you going to come up? Oh. Come, let's dance. Come on, come on, come on. I'm shy. I can't dance. If a South African sees me dance, they're going to be like, not like that. Come. It's very nice, eh?
I'm wearing this, right?
Eh?
I'm wearing this.
For?
Am I wearing this?
Yeah. We're starting. Can we all please come inside? Papa? Volume? No. Play the music. Aibo. Hi. I'm bringing South Africa to Senegal today. Nicholas, come dance. Come dance. Aibo! Crosby, come dance. Wakey, wakey. Aibo. I choke. I choke. I choke. I choke. Okay. Ay. Isoles. Aibo. Izacho. I choke. Isoles. Aibo. Tahir, wanna dance? Ivo! Is this the best summit ever or what? This is one of the best by far. If you don't grab your seat, you'll be forced to come and dance with me. Let's grab our seats or come to the front and dance with me. Only those two options. It's either you seated or you come and dance with me. Oh yes, out Dakar. Thank you. On the next round, Catherine is going to come up front and dance. No, I'm saying next time you're coming here, you're not dancing there. Hope we all enjoyed lunch. I enjoyed dancing. I feel lighter, a lot of weight. We'll move on a program, and the next topic would be around Startup X, and it'll be moderated by Damile Dosumu from Tech Cabal. Are the panelists ready for us? Oh. There we go.
Hi guys, I'm getting used to this. I love the stage. Yeah, you can join me here. Welcome. My name is Damilari Dosumu. I'm a reporter at Tech Cabal. So Tech Cabal is a Pan-African tech publication based in Lagos. I'm going to be the moderator for today's panel, and nice to meet you. I'm just going to pass the microphone to the panelists to introduce themselves briefly.
Hello everyone, my name is Papa Kane and I am program manager for Send Startup, which is an association that accompanies local startups and helps them get from the ideation stage all the way to being able to raise funds. So I guess we'll have more time to elaborate on that, especially when we'll be talking about a Startup X. So.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sassoum Nyong, and I am Chief Product and Marketing Officer for InTouch, which is a Pan-African fintech that's present in 15 countries currently. We specialize in payments and digital services aggregation.
Hi, I'm Houdé Rozi, and I'm the founder and CEO of Open Startup, which is an incubator operating in Africa, and I've been involved in developing the Startup Act in Tunisia.
I'm Catherine Young from South Africa, managing partner Grindstone Ventures and partner Grindstone.
My name is Talan Jai. I'm the head of Digital Entrepreneurship Office at the Ministry of Digital Economy and Telecommunications, in charge of the implementation of Startup Act in Senegal.
All right, thank you guys for that brief introduction. In case you don't understand or you do not know what startup bills mean or startup acts, sorry, I'm Nigerians and we still call our own startup bill because we haven't passed yet. So startup act is actually like some form of rule book to allow, to create a very convenient environment for startup to build in a particular nation. So we have like a couple of African countries that have actually set it up, and we're just going to talk into it to sort of like dissect the importance of Startups Act. Are they, Startup Acts, are they enabler or they're just a red tape? So Sorry, who is from I4 policy here? Oh, the I4 policy person is not here. Because I want that to be my entry point, but we can still improvise. So who's from Tunisia here? You're from Tunisia. So Tunisia is actually the first country in Africa to pass Startup Act. Can we give it up for them, please? Give it up, give it up. Yeah, Senegal is the second. Another round of applause. So we're just going to go from Tunisia, then we enter Senegal, then we talk about the rest of them that are not serious yet. Yeah. So can you tell us the process of setting that Startup Acts? What do you need to do? What are the bottlenecks? Who are you need to get in bed with the government, of course. What was the process like? Just briefly.
Okay, so in a nutshell, it took, I'd say, probably 3 years from the moment there's been, I think, a conjunction of different elements all together that make it happen. It was after the revolution in Tunisia. There was an incredible, vibrant ecosystem. Also wind of freedom, where people were trying to build something in a country where the president had left. So technically, we wake up one day and there's nothing there. And you wonder what's next now. And so you have a lot of entrepreneurs, probably because of their DNA, who decided together, it's probably a bunch of 80 of them, all together with a minister that was very open at that time, did a gathering that was kind of informal, just to say, okay, what's next? What do we want to do? And they were sitting in a hotel and saying, okay, if tomorrow we had to imagine a law, this is what we'd like to see. And it took 2-3 years of a process that was extremely bottom-up, that was very collaborative, driven by people who were all volunteering to do it. There was no funding, nothing. It was just people putting their time and task forces of people who just wanted to create a regulation and asking the government, and at that time the government was very fragile, so they didn't really know what was going on. And so it was some back and forth, parliament negotiations, etc. And there was this organization, an NGO called Tunisian Startups, that decided to put some time to listen, be the voice, build the regulation, put a set of probably 20 measures, and try to pass that in the government. As part of the process, a very important one was the lobbying part. There was a lot of deputies, and everyone had to discuss with someone to make sure that that would happen. April 2018, that regulation went through. Today we are already 4 years later or so, but say in 3 years because the implementation started in 19. And after that, we're already talking about the Startup Act 2.0, and right now there are negotiations with the government, started 6 months ago, and the plan is to have something ready in the coming year.
All right, thank you very much. So I'm still going to come back to you because we now have 2.0. That means there are new iterations to be done. New things to be added. So we'll get back to you. Let's pass it to Tyler. Let's pass it to Tyler. Sorry, I'm not jumping you. I'm still going to come back to you. So Tyler, can you just tell us the process? How long does it take for you? Did it take for Senegal to have their own startup bill or act ready?
Yeah. What you have to know is the problem of Senegal is a problem of all African countries. There is no model of startup acts in Africa before Tunisia and Senegal or the reflection in other countries. So here in Senegal, what we did, the first line of the startup acts are written by the ecosystem, the private sectors and startup and the ecosystems. And then after that, the government understand that there is a need to help entrepreneurs, to help the ecosystem to be more dynamic and to be contributive to the economy, the national economy, the inclusion. And then after that, we did a lot of benchmark, and these benchmarks are done by consultant company. They saw the Tunisian teams and other startup acts in the worldwide. And then the legislations were in 2020, by the end of the year 2020, And the first decree, application decree, was signed by the president by the end of the year 2021. And we're also waiting for the next application decree. We are working hard. It's not an easy thing because there is some interviews which are being done with some actors who should be in the commission. We have a commission, a kind of administrative authority which is in charge of the implementation of the Startup Act in Senegal. And it's this commission, the evaluation, the support and coordination commission, which is in charge of the global strategy of promotion of the startup and the development here in Senegal. And what is doing now is to mobilize the team. There is the representations of different ministries, of finance, of budget, of tourism, and the representative of the startup associations and the ecosystems. Nowadays, that's this team which is being mobilized by the government to enable the first rules of procedures for the regimes, the statute, the legal statute to recognize what a startup here in Senegal, what is a startup. And the second part is the labelization. It's also to these commissions to deliver the label Sen Startup, which is recognized by the government as the official national label for the country. So that's where we are actually here.
All right, thank you, Tala. A quick one before we pass the mic. How long does it take? If we're going to put it like a frame time, does it take 3 years like Tunisia? Or did it take just a month, a few months?
Officially, we started. The first point is the legislation, the Startup Act. It's in 2020. Until now, we're waiting for the operations, and my team and I and the ecosystem, we are working together to have the rest of the application decree. We have the first one, and we have a lot of application decrees to be seen by the president, and that's what we are doing.
All right. Thank you, Tala. So that means we can't really put it in a time frame because there's a lot of moving parts yet to be achieved, right? So get that.
Right. But the most important is what is sure is by the end of the year we'll have implemented the Startup Act here in Senegal.
All right. I mean, Senegal, the Startup Act is not fully functional, yeah?
Yeah, that's
good. So that means I'm taking back my kudos. Pass the mic. Pass the mic. We are still in the same category. Senegal and Nigeria.
Yeah.
Pass it up. Please give it to my friend Papa. Yeah. Senegal and Nigeria are with the same. Don't say you are bigger than us. So as somebody who help startups, we help groom, build startup into probably maybe someday unicorns. I would just, you are in Senegal, and that act is not yet functional, so you wouldn't know, would you?
I wouldn't put it like that.
I've not asked my question, do you know? All right. So, what do you think will be okay? Let us be futuristic here. What do you think is going to be the impact of Startup Bill on the startup ecosystem? Do you think it's going to enable the ecosystem, or is going to draw it back because there will be a lot of bureaucracy, there will be a lot of paper to be pushed, envelope to be pushed? I mean, that's what red tape means, actually. So what do you think will be the impact when it finally get passed?
So 2 days ago at there was a question that was asked to Tijan Dem. And the question was, to how many unicorns do you expect Senegal to have within the next few years? And his answer was, in order to have more unicorns in Senegal, because I can't give you a number right now, but the best way to be able to do that is to be able to give out more pre-seed and seed money. And the best way to do that is to actually have startups, right? Being able to have a startup here in Senegal that is going to be labeled or certified as a startup, going through the Startup Act, is actually going to be very, very beneficial for the startups themselves, but also to put a spotlight onto the Senegalese ecosystem within the startup environment. The reason why I'm saying this is because today, everybody's here today because you've heard that there was something going on here in Senegal, and this is the reason why everybody's here today, to shed the light on what is all about entrepreneurship here in Senegal. And that's one of the things that the Startup Act is going to be providing for those startups. We have to think today, as an entrepreneur, when you come into an environment like this and you're trying to do something, when you put your mind or you put yourself into the shoes of an entrepreneur here in Senegal, we have to think that the buying power is not the same as those who are maybe in the US or in Europe or anything like that, right? We have realities, obviously, and things that constrain us in that way, and being able to have a law that gives you tax breaks, that helps you build your company, and gives you the ability to have some light shed onto you and be able to go out there and raise money and become another unicorn, become another Paps, because it's not just going to be Paps that's going to be a unicorn. We're going to have more. And that's today what the Startup Act is going to be able to do.
All right, thank you very much. And shout out to Paps. Is anybody from Paps here? No. So shout out to Paps. Paps is a logistic company, I guess.
That's
yeah,
correct.
Based in Senegal.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for them. Can we pass the microphone to Hoda?
Yes.
Oh, Hoda, sorry, not you, Catherine. I'm still coming back to you. Don't worry, Catherine. Yeah, Catherine from South Africa. So what would you say is so far, when it comes to Startup Act in South Africa? Anyway, do you have anything like Startup Act?
I'll speak to it.
You speak to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you should speak to it. Why don't you have it yet?
Yeah, sure. I think, so what's interesting for me about a Startup Act is that it starts with a Small Business Act, typically. And then which takes both entrepreneurs and startups in the definition into account. And then we get to the Startup Act in more detail. So South Africa for the South Africans in the room, I don't know if you know, we had a Small Business Act 1995. So you asked the question about timeline. What's that, 25 years? 95, yeah, 22 years. We started as an ecosystem, and that's an important point, 2018, and we were inspired by Tunisia, to be honest, to say, what can we do in our ecosystem? And what's very interesting, the only other country in the world with the Startup Act is Italy. I didn't know that. I've learned that. And what's very interesting about Italy, they're 6 years in, so that's the first country where we can have some benchmarking to see, is it working, is it not? And one of the stats when I prepped for this panel was the businesses in Italy, although Europe is so different, we know that, I'm just using it as a number, businesses in Italy who are part of the Startup Act motion grew 10 to 15% more than those who weren't. So that just put the lights up for me to say, geez, if we get so the ecosystem needs to work together, which we started in 2018. And I'm almost speaking ecosystem as Africa, not just as countries. If we can do this as a continent, truly. That's the first point. The second one is the framework in how we do it, right? So the framework of, can they just discretionarily apply, or do you select them? Because that brings the red tape. Depends on how so are they entitled or are they not? And entitled in the real sense. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is, so once we've got the ecosystem, once we've got the framework, then we've got to be really very specific in what, and this is where the differences for the countries will be, what is for one country may not be relevant for another. We have horrible exchange controls, as an example, in South Africa. So to conclude on this question, 2018 we started. We had there were a couple in the South Africans in the room. Our president called a meeting, was it last year? Was it this year? End of last year, I think. Or maybe early this year.
Is he Jacob Zuma?
Sorry?
Is he Jacob Zuma?
Yeah. So, I can't hear? No,
Jacob Zuma.
No, our beautiful new president, Cyril Ramaphosa. And he called us as an ecosystem together. So we've started the work. Is it going to be quick? Definitely not. Have we got the ecosystem involved? Absolutely, across all stakeholders. So yes, hoping and praying for Africa.
Right, thank you very much, Catherine. I'm rooting for you guys. Hope we get done very fast. Oh, Sassoon, to you, where's your ecosystem?
Where's
Your ecosystem.
our ecosystem? You mean in Senegal or?
Oh, Senegal too?
Or what
Senegal,
do you mean,
right?
What do you mean with?
Like, okay, you are from Senegal.
Yes,
You're based in Senegal.
yes.
All right, good.
We started in Senegal and then we scaled to 15 countries. So we're a Senegalese-born startup that then
Okay,
scaled
good.
to 15
So,
countries.
I mean, you've scaled to 15 countries.
Yes.
I just want to establish a particular fact that from Catherine to Tala to Oda, there's a fact, and to Papa, there's a fact that has been established that Startup Act is not a red tape. It's an enabler, right? For you, who've actually like expanded your business to like 15 countries, would you say the same? Do you experience a very good relationship pushed by the startup bills in all these countries that you've expanded into? Do they enable your business, or you've not yet, start feeling the impact?
I think it's very strange when you're in a startup and you have a startup mentality. By definition, you kind of have a warrior spirit where no matter what is going on in your ecosystem, you're going to make it happen because you don't have a choice. And so if as a business, you can't say, no matter what, I don't have a choice, I have to succeed. And so that is the first, that is, I think, what is common to all the startups that have made it and that do scale, is that you have to have that kind of, there's no other way, right? So if startup acts are to be red tape, what will happen is they'll just simply be avoided by the startups, because if a startup is a machine, if it doesn't help it, it goes over it, around it, under it. So they can't, there'll either be an enabler or they will be ignored. There are no other options, really. Because that's how startups function. By definition, they innovate and find ways to do what they need to do in order to exist.
Great.
Okay. I mean, I may be cutting it short, but in my opinion, at seed level, for sure, it can be something that can be an enabler, or what will happen is the strongest, it's going to be a Darwinistic, which is what it is now, a Darwinistic environment where just the strongest are then able to move forward, that have a ground that makes it possible for that to happen, right? Yeah. So we have to make sure if two things, either they are here to help seed become the next level, or they are here to accompany startups at all their different stages of life. And in which case, if they are to be enablers, then they need to address the actual issues that startups have, which can be general, but can also be per sector. A fintech and an agri-tech are not going to have the same issues. A short tech and I don't know, a logistics tech are not going to have the same issues.
Right, right there. So there's we have different segments to tech. We have fintech, we have agri-tech, and we have a startup act.
We have different levels of startups.
Different level. So thank you for mentioning that. Do you think that all the startup acts, I don't know if Tala will be interested to answer this. Do you put into consideration all these different stages in the act, or everything is just general, just generalize everything? Do you put different sector, different stage of the startup? Are they like really like into the startup? So I'd just like to know briefly.
Yeah, it's on the sector. The key word is innovation. If you are an innovative startup, we're looking for a stable business model, etc. So you can be recognized as a startup according to the Startup Act. And according to the evolution level of the startup, it depends on the support structure, which is accredited by the Commission, I talked it earlier, which give accreditation to the support structure, which train and support all recognized startup by the government.
All right. Thank you. I think I want to accept the fact that it's going to be an enabler. Why? Because the founders are on the table, the investors are on the table, all the stakeholders are on the table, agreeing on a particular fact, so that it won't come back to bite anybody in the, pardon my French, in the house. Yeah, so let's go back to Tunisia, our leader. So yeah, I mean, you are the leader when it comes to startup acts.
First of all, probably a comment that I think is important to take into consideration. First of all, if you look at startup acts, essentially we're looking into countries who have difficulties in their economic models. A startup act is not the best plan. The best plan is having nothing, having a liberal economic system where transaction costs are low and you have strong institutions and you don't need any of this. In Tunisia, it happened because it was such a hell of a situation to get the economy to work that we had to build a window so that people could breathe a bit. We have no mobile payment, no currency that is convertible, and people are asked to deal with the 21st century and the world while we have no regulation. So first of all, it's a by default model. We try to do something out of a hell in which we are living. Secondly, who are we to say I'm giving you a label or not? So I'll tell you something, I'm part of those who had this debate with everyone saying, are we allowed to do this? And who are we to be entitled to say, you have a label, you don't have it? And what if the ones who didn't have the label ended up being the best ones? So technically there's a real ethical question here. Who am I to give the label? I'm part of the Collège des Startups and I take hours listening to myself and saying, am I entitled to do this? But the reality is that at least, and I can give you some numbers, we have 1,200 applications, 700 have been accepted as a startup, 300 have a pre-label, 3,200 jobs have been created, 50% are less than 34 years old, a bit less than 40% are women, 85 deals developed, 13 managed to go international, 72 million revenue generated, and 23 million funds raised. So technically there's no unicorn yet, but it still shows that it brings some energy. It's like take it as you're adding some vitamins or something that's gonna bring an energy, but it's not ideal. The ideal situation is having an economy that is healthy and that looks at entrepreneurs the same way, whether they are tech entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs for any type of business, and the reality of governments is to build economic models where strong institutions allow economic players to play fairly.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So I was actually going to ask before you say it, but now that you said it, so I'm aware that Tunisia is like going through a lot. We're all going through a lot. But Tunisia is like, they have this unique problem of economy, like depreciation, inflation, and all of that. And I think it's all the Maghreb states. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of factors, things that are causing that. One is the rivalry, the intra-regional rivalry. Tunisia will not do business with Morocco. Morocco will not do business with Algeria. Algeria will not do business with Mauritania. There's another country called Libya. Are they still existing? But yeah, so Libya is just there.
We haven't been very spoiled. You're right.
Yeah. So like there's no cooperation between these 5 states, right? And I know that Tunisia is like really, really, when it comes to tech talent, they're very solid. There's no scarcity of talent. There's no scarcity of talent I want to show. Even in Morocco, there's no scarcity of talent. They have solid talent pipeline, but people are discouraged to build startup. I'm pretty. There's a particular startup, InstaDeep. InstaDeep just raised $100 million. It's a Tunisian startup. You want to give it up? Give it up for InstaDeep. Yeah. So I think that will be your next unicorn. And there's Expansia. But there's a funny fact to all these startups. Both InstaDeep and Expansia, their customer base is Europe. They are not serving Tunisia. They are not serving Africa. They're serving Europe, right? So I'm going to allow you to talk to that. The Tunisian market is small. It's very small. You cannot build a unicorn in a Tunisian market. Maybe you can, but it will take a very long time. But So what do you say to that? Because all this money coming into Tunisia are not staying in Tunisia. So how do you want to build an economy where the money coming into your, the money attributed to your country is not actually staying in the country? Yeah, just say something like that.
So first of all, those are Tunisian startups, and the trend in Tunisia, and probably in Senegal, is that as soon as the startup becomes investable, it has to move its headquarters out of Tunisia. The reason is simple: investors want to have, they can't have it's stability, and it's also regulation, but it's also the situation of the currency. The dinar is not convertible. And so once you put your money, you don't really know how you're going to take it back in the international currency. So today, us as a country, the question is, do we let them die internally, or do we give them the capacity to go internationally and to have a branding and to get giving the time to the country to repair its institutions once again, to become a country such as Nigeria, where VCs do invest, or Egypt, where VCs do put their money coming from the international to invest because they know that they can get back their money. It's quite simple.
Yeah, so I get that. So my question now is, these are startups, like Tunisian guys are building startups from Tunisia, but they are not serving the local market. It's not this is not a question of after getting funding, they now move, right? Like start expanding into some other countries. No. These big guys, the InstaDeep, the Expansia, they are not serving the local market. They are serving, the customers base is predominantly Europe, right? But they are building in Tunisia. They have most of their workforce, their talent in Tunisia. I think InstaDeep has about 75% of their workforce in Tunisia. Then the rest is just distributed across the world. So the problem now is, why are you building in Tunisia and you're not serving the local market? But you are serving outside of Tunisia. But you are building in Tunisia. Do you think that would help? Even the startup, do you think startup access would even help in that situation?
I don't really think this is extremely important for the country. What's important for a country is to have talent, ways to create added value, and to generate revenues to create development. If you're serving your country or other markets, the real issue is, do I spend money as Senegal and Tunisia in startups that we incubate, and the moment they start making money, they leave the country without keeping some value? But am I serving my market, the international, altogether? That's a secondary perspective. That is, I think, to me right now, the question is, I'm Tunisia, I'm investing money. As much as same question, take the case of brain drain of talent. You invest in doctors and they leave to serve Germany and France, for instance. So as a country, I'm putting my money, and that money is going to countries who already have money. I'm putting my money to invest in my startups, and those startups, as soon as they get their Series A, they're out. So how can I do to find a way, and again, being free, because you have to give the freedom to startups, but in a way that you smartly find a way to keep capture some of the value, to put it back in your country. That is the real question, I think.
I want to add to that. All right. I actually want to add to that. It's not either or, it's and. It's not you are in the country or outside of the country. I think the Startup Acts will be great enablers over the future years to build a very strong pipeline of businesses. They're not all going to be unicorns, and that's okay, but they are going to form a very strong economy in those countries, and that's what we need. And of course we need a couple of unicorns. Of course we do. We're capitalists at the end of the day, but the reality is it's not one or the other. Some of them will go offshore. We have exactly the same situation in South Africa. We get the companies, as soon as they're big enough, they go offshore, because otherwise the IP is such a big issue with our IP Act. So I really think, as a continent and as the countries individually, as we all trying to push our Startup Acts, to understand that it's not only about the 5 or 6 unicorns per country per year, but it's about a group of startups that we have to get through and continuously feed through to grow the economies.
All right, thank you for that. Can we give them a round of applause, please? I mean, that's a very good argument. I mean, coming from Nigeria, it's the reverse is the case. Our companies, they go abroad first, register abroad, get the funding, but they serve the local market, right? But they get for local funding. So it's just like the other way around. But I get, taking it from your perspective, solid one. So far, there's a value being created in the country. It's a win-win, right? And that's what Startup Acts is for, win-win. The startups ecosystem win, and the government win, the country wins, the people win, and that's the most important thing. All right, thank you very much. Just a quick one, Tala. She mentioned that it's the same thing. I don't know. Okay, Tunisia is francophone when it comes to the general, like French in Tunisia and all that. Do you think it is also like that for? So we have like 5 more minutes before we take questions from the people. So we're gonna do this for 5 minutes, you know, tit-a-tat. Then we throw the remaining 5 minutes to the audience to ask the question. So. Is it like that in Tunisia as well? Like people build here, they don't serve the local market, but they pay their tax here. They keep their talent, their workforce here, but they serve the market is predominantly outside the country. And once they are big enough to expand, they move out of maybe to Paris or maybe to Paris or somewhere else. Is it the same with the problem you're facing in Senegal?
That's not really the same problem. Maybe it's the geographic position, or not, but it's not the same problem. The main problem startups have here in Senegal is to access to the government market or the public
the government market.
Yes, the public order. Sorry, public sector.
The
yes.
public sector. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like regulators or serving the government? Okay.
The government also has needs that startups can actually fix, but they tend to go outside as opposed to relying on the local and actually creating the local heroes and funding those local companies through government initiative and government projects. So it's very difficult to bid when it's a public bid and it's open, and so international companies that are much stronger can come and bid against smaller local companies.
I mean, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to understand, why is that a problem? Like, are you predominantly building B2G, business to government? Is that the mainstream startup?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yes. The main problem of startups is that to access to government markets or order, because they competitors have experiences, references.
Who are the competitors? Local and international, but they are not startups.
Not startups, because they can have the skills, they can do the work, but they don't have the experience, maybe the financial support or the references to access or to submit the application. They don't have the real requirements.
All right. So sorry. Let me just.
Yes.
Sorry. So that's a problem for business to government, right? Business to business. So why, if I'm a startup solving problems for businesses, building software, maybe a SaaS, or I'm a B2C building solutions for customers for the mass market, why do I need to get into the business of the government? The problem should be, how do I get to get a good regulation that's going to enhance my business?
Yeah.
Right, you want to answer that?
Just to finish my sentence, yeah, that's the main problem. And the Startup Act bring the answers, because all startups will have access to this market. And every company, according to their experience, their size, they will stay in his line and access to the command. And the startup will be supported by the government, because they have the statute of startup enabled by the Startup Act. And the second part is the tax exemptions. Donc they don't pay tax for 3 years, and this charge will permit them to enable or to access to other market. But it depends on the startups. Some startups bring, because what you have to know is, here in Senegal, we have 5 leapfrogs. The first one is the ICT, the information communication technology, the fintechs, the e-government, etc. And a lot of local startups bring answers to this problem. And these problems address directly government or public problem. That's why the big market is owned by the government, and startups don't have access really to this market.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Tala. Thank you very much, Sassoon. Thank you, Oda, and thank you, Catherine. I think we've come to the end of the panel, but we are going to throw the questions to the public. So if you have a question you want to ask, please indicate so that we can come to you. We're just taking 2 questions so that we can round this up. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you very much. So I'm Serge. I'm from Senegal, based in Senegal. I'm a business angel. And I'm a bit concerned by what I heard, because to help, so first, I'm in Senegal and I don't know really the details of the Startup Act. How this act will help me. I want to invest. I want to invest in Senegalese company. As I said yesterday, the first investment I wanted to do, they had to move the holding in Delaware. I had to send the money to Delaware. The government prevent me from sending the money to Delaware. This is one problem. Okay. Secondly, maybe for your understanding, one of the problems of Francophone Africa is like the government is big in the economy. That's why he's saying the startup wants that. Actually, the startup don't want to work for the government. They want a free economy so that they can go after the companies and things like that. But if it's following what Tala said, I think it's more like a small business act, like the one in the US, where small companies can apply to government contract.
Like an open procurement
it's
process?
Procurement rules to avoid the gatekeeper with, oh, you need to have 3 years of existence and things like that. That's a big part of the economy in Senegal, unfortunately. But what we want, I think, really is how to give access to seed fund to Senegalese startup in Senegal. I think it goes through people like me. So in what sense these startup acts will help me?
That's a very, very good question. And I think that one of the first things, and I think that maybe somebody else would want to add to that, but one of the first things that I would say is it will be very important for you or very beneficial for you to start by getting closer to structures that are here that actually accompany startups, right? For example, since Startup, our association, we pride ourselves in being able to provide the startup the right tools to go from the ideation stage all the way to being able to raise funds, right? So that means that we're providing them with everything that goes with that. If we're getting them ready for, to be able to meet business angels like you, then it's like we're sourcing you startups that are ready to benefit from whatever it is that you're offering. So it's a matter of being able to work with people like us. So that's the first thing. The way that the Startup Act is going to, help you is because of all those advantages that are going to come with this Startup Act, which is when we're talking about tax breaks and everything else that comes with that, the platform. It'll also give you means to, by yourself, be able to go and look for yourself and find the startups that are going to be matching the criteria that you're looking for when it comes to one.
Sorry, if I may, I think your answer is not to the point of Serge's question, right, Serge? Serge is simply saying, why does the government is stopping an investor from sending money in where the entrepreneurs has chosen to register their corporation to raise money, Delaware in this case, And in the first place, why is even that happening, which is resulting in Africa becoming a county of Delaware? Yeah. So really, the problem for government is that we need almost the government to come alongside investors and startups and understand the problem, because this is restraining the flow of capital and IP and people, talent, skills, IP, and money, and that's inhibiting the growth of startups in Africa. So it sounds to me like the Startup Act in Senegal was mostly lip service because decrees of application still haven't been implemented. In Tunisia, I mean, I've got some investment in Tunisia. Yeah, Startup Act 1.0, it didn't do much. It did some things, but mostly outside of regulation. Because, as you rightly pointed out, it's mostly about a holistic plan, investment, procurement from the state, like they did in Rwanda and so forth. So you know, I agree with Serge that there's reason to be concerned that it seems African governments don't really get it. And as a result, investors, which have to run their business, are pragmatic and say, guys, there's a simple formula, let's go to Delaware. But it's a bit sad if the entire African startup economy is going to be a county of Delaware, you know. So I don't know if there's a reaction to that, but it's not going to startup incubators that they're going to solve the problem. Sorry for the somewhat harsh comment.
So and I understand exactly what you're saying when it comes to like why is it that they have to go all the way out to Delaware and how you're going to be able to choose based on that. Is it more answering?
No, for me, what is the specific in the startup act that will help me? That's the first. Why the startup act in Delaware is clear. Because they have bigger investor value that wants them there. And they have more money than me, of course, so far.
Well, you can't move your money to Delaware.
So then I have to go with my money to Delaware. While I have my money here.
Which is difficult.
Is it difficult or seamless?
It's difficult.
It's difficult.
It's
You have to justify.
actually illegal. I need the authorization of the Ministry of Finance.
So is it legal? Is it illegal for you to invest because once you're in Delaware, you become an American company?
So we have the entity that is going to be in Delaware also has an entity that prevails here in Senegal. So your investment stays here at the end of the day.
Maybe just one point here. I mean, if we take it pragmatically, the continent, most of our countries in Africa have less means and resources than other countries. So governments try to keep, particularly when it comes to currency, control over the currency to try to avoid having monies that are not worth anything. It is clear, and you're totally right, every time that the government is involved, people start being skeptical, and it makes sense because of cumbersome and all of that. So the point is, today, if you are in a country where and the risk is there, it's a trade-off. You need to create some space for oxygen and to try to bring some advantages and so on and so forth. For investors to have less taxes, to have some sort of guarantee because those startups had the label. And if those people sitting in the governmental institutions are people from 500 startups and Y Combinator and XYZ, that's still a guarantee that you're investing in a startup that's worth it, okay? But let's look at the reality is that when it comes to are they staying in Africa, they will go to whatever country, and that is something you can't even deal with, and it's fine if they go. But governmentally speaking, yes, it's skeptical, yes, it's difficult, yes, it can increase the difficulties, but if you know how to make it happen, and if you bring people from the private to intervene in the public structures, because they understand, and that, for example, in Tunisia, this public-private partnership is quite okay, you can probably avoid all of those questions and difficulties that you might be facing.
But then the thing is that the policy has to follow the ecosystem it is fostering, right? So otherwise it makes no sense, basically. So if you're going to create a startup status, then you have to create an economic and financial system and policy that makes it possible for that ecosystem that you're fostering to actually exist in the economies that you're creating them. Otherwise, it makes no sense. Especially if the economy itself and the future of the economies in all of the continents, it's not just Africa, relies and depends on tech, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to have talent here and capital outside. That's what we're creating. If the policies don't follow if the economic policy doesn't follow the structure itself, there's no point. And then, again, startups create what they need in order to exist. And they'll go under, over, behind, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, I'm rounding up. So as an observer, because we don't have a Startup Act yet, it is clear to me that the Startup Act in Senegal is not yet working. That's reality. As an investor, you should be having tax breaks, you should be having no IP issues, and all those good things, and you have all of those, yeah.
Thank you, guys. I think we're going to just bring this to the end. I know you guys have a lot. You want to probe them further. You can catch them when they get back to their seats, ask them questions. But in summary, Startup Acts is just so that you can build in the economy, build seamlessly in the country. And I think that's the most important thing before you start thinking about to expand. Thank you guys for coming. Catch you. See you later. Tala, you don't want to leave?
It's quite clear. I was sitting there, I'm like, you know what, if ever there was a topic that I wanted for it to go longer, this was it, because it's of interest to everyone seated in this room. And it's very clear that Startup Act is needed in terms of addressing the challenges that startups face. Thank you so much to the panelists, and thank you so much to the audience for the questions. Now we get to the fun part of pitching. We're almost towards the end of our day. And since we started on Monday, we've been telling startups, you know what, be visible, polish up your pitching, your elevator pitch to the investors, so that you can get noticed, so that you can get some form of a deal flow. Now we're changing things a bit. Now we're going to have the investors pitching to the startups. So we also get an opportunity, and they'll be judged by startups. The way they were grilling you guys when you were pitching, I'm hoping the startups that are judging them are going to grill them like crazy. Please do it for me and the rest of the startups who were pitching who were so nervous. And I've been taking a glimpse on all three that will be pitching. Let me tell you something. They look nervous. They're only confident when they are judging. Oh yes, oh yes. Can I have our judges who will be judging? The startups will be judging the investors, please. The investors that are going to be pitching, I'll just name them in order. It's Marika Rostenberg from FMO, followed by Bongani Sitole, Founders Factory, then Lynn Dijon from Transcendence VC. Can we please have our judges introducing themselves so that everyone knows who's judging? Quick intro, who you are, your company.
Hi, Rafael Dena, I'm the co-founder of Gozem. We've been pitching yesterday. We're Africa's super app focusing on Francophone Africa.
Yes, hi everybody. I'm Leo from co-founder of Beta Store, supply chain platform for the informal economy.
Hello everyone, I'm Temitopo Motolani. I'm co-founder and CEO of CrowdInvest, an online platform that helps people grow their wealth.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Some of you may have seen me earlier on stage. Marieke Roestenberg, I'm with FMO, which is the Dutch Development Bank, also called DFI, one of the famous or infamous DFIs. Happy to be pitching here, which I think is actually a good time for us, because we have, since 2 years ago, established a dedicated venture capital program. That's the first time FMO ever engaged in a sort of more holistic way in venture capital. We've done private equity for ages. We always thought venture capital is too risky for us. It's small tickets. Maybe it's not ideal for a development bank, but when we actually start seeing sort of the technological developments and the enormous development impact that these tech-enabled models can have in the markets where we work, we felt like we have to do something. We cannot just sort of continue to use the excuse that it's too difficult. So what we did is we liaised with our partners, the Dutch government, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the European Commission. And we put together a program which consists of funding from these two parties, the public side, as well as funding from FMO's own balance sheet. Which is actually, well, let me show the slides. Oh, it's the other way around. Sorry, there go your slides, Rajiv. Can I go back? I don't think the clicker is working. Anyway, I'll do it. Yeah, thanks, Nathaniel. So I think what we put together is actually a 200 million euro dedicated pocket, which we want to invest for 50% in direct investment and 50% in emerging venture capital funds. We have to focus on certain sectors because we simply, cannot do everything because you actually need to know and you need to specialize a bit before you can invest in these kind of tech models. So we will be focusing on fintech, energy access, so that includes the off-grid energy sector, but also broader software enablement for energy management, demand management, etc., and agri-tech. And in sort of the other sectors like education tech, health tech, logistics, etc., we can do, but we will only do as a co-investment with one of our fund managers that we invest in. So what we also did is like, okay, we have a dedicated program, we have the funding, we need a dedicated team, right? We have private equity professionals for decades, but we thought we really need to specialize, right? We need to set up a dedicated team that's only going to look at VC, that's going to sort of understand the mindset, is going to have the skills to be able to assess opportunities in the tech space. So that's what we did. We currently have a team of 10, soon to be 12. Tessa's in the room. Robert's also here. So in addition to the investment program, which is 200 million, we also have a technical assistance facility of 6.5 million, which we leverage to both strengthen the investees we invest in, but we also do all kind of ecosystem building activities, such as partnering with incubators, accelerators, commissioning reports, research, etc. Focus of the program geographically is Africa, what we call the European neighborhood, so that's North Africa and some parts of Central Asia, as well as certain countries in Asia. We're not focusing on China, for instance. We have to sort of focus ourselves a little bit. So in Asia, we're looking for frontier markets, although we also do some India. Let's see. Yeah, so maybe summarizing, the purpose of the program is to really improve and create access and inclusivity. That's the whole rationale, that we want to sort of leverage the potential of these tech models to finally reach segments that are not served or not served well yet in the markets where we're active. We generally want to make a great contribution to boosting the startup ecosystem. That's why we're combining the investment program with the technical assistance program. And we're leveraging the strength of our public partners, the European Commission and the Dutch Ministry, in the program's capital structure, which has a blended structure. Yeah, this is a little bit more detail on the strategy. Like I said, 50% in direct, 50% in funds, with a focus on Series A onwards. We, by exception, sometimes do pre-Series A, but I think seed is really a bit too early for us. But Series A, pre-Series A, and then on, I mean, I think we have the benefit of having the program, which is sizable, but of course, if investees subsequently graduate, we can continue to fund them through their life cycle. So we think that's a strong feature of having not only a dedicated program, but also the bigger FMO balance sheet behind it. I guess that's it.
Thank you. My first question would be like, what would be the ideal candidate for you? What type of company are you looking at?
So ideal candidate, I don't think there's an ideal candidate. What we like to see is, of course, we're looking at Series A stage, right? So there is traction, there is a team in place. There is actually, for us, it's important that there is a lead investor that can come into the same round, because we, like I said, we're new, we're operating largely from the Netherlands, so we prefer to invest alongside a local or regional lead party, and that can be a VC manager or another sort of reputable party. What makes a candidate more attractive for us is also whether they serve an underserved segment. The more inclusive the business model is, of course, for us as a development bank, that's the more important, alongside commercial potential, of course.
All right, thank you. How long does your due diligence process till you commit and then transfer the money to the bank? How long does it take?
How long does it take? That's a good question. I think we are a DFI, so we have lots of processes, we have a lot of hoops that, the team, but also our candidate, prospect investees have to jump through. So our process can be, honestly, it can be somewhat lengthy, but we have actually shortened the investment process for the venture capital program. So we can go through we have 2 approval stages with due diligence in between. Yeah, so it really depends also on the traction of the fundraising. We can close, I think Tessa closed at least a fund investment in 2 months? That was a bit of a stretch, but no, so I think we try to be quick, but yes, I think we are a DFI, so we should be open and honest about it, that it's sometimes, we just have to complete lots of processes. The upside of a DFI joining your cap table is that you get access to our network, the technical assistance facility, let's say free guidance or advice on topics like corporate governance, environmental and social. So yeah, we hope that balances out for the startups that we fund.
I have a question, but the time is up.
Okay. Who's next?
It's Lynn. Thank you so much.
Forward, back.
Forward and back.
Hello. Hello, everyone here. Oh, the new faces. Okay. So, I look Asian. We are Singaporean. I need to say that. And so let's start a little bit about our story. So this is our track record. We've been investing since 2009. And so most of these companies you're seeing on the screen have exited, with the exception of the marketing companies. This is a hiring company. This is a software service implementation company, sold to Salesforce.com. This one is a classified company sold to Carousel. This one was sold to Foodpanda, Roca Internet. and then integrated into Delivery Hero and listed in Berlin in 2017. This one is e-cigarette company. This Doc, some of you guys might know it. We did a partial exit in 2013. iBuy did a IPO in 2013. Okila is a Vietnam e-commerce platform. Passion Capital, we did Fund of Fund. It's a first VC fund in the UK. It's also backed by British Business Bank. So yeah, that's our track record. We can proudly say that I think 3/4 of the entrepreneurs here have been millionaires, multimillionaires in cash for the last 5 years. So we take pride in actually enabling others to achieve their purpose in life. And what we're doing here is basically we're bringing our experience to be shared here in Africa, because we pretty much saw some similar signs. So we are the GPs from the first fund. It's me and Patrick. Patrick is a serial entrepreneur. I myself, ex-banker and entrepreneur. My first job, I was entrepreneur when I was 22, doing interoperability of payment chip cards and readers. I know, not very sexy, but it's what it is. I sold it from second when I was 26. And on the ESG side, we have Eman Wahbi, who's ex-World Bank, and Nathalie De Gaulle, who's a serial entrepreneur on multiple governmental, environmental, and cybersecurity companies. So we can proudly say that most of us, and maybe I think it's one of our key success factors, we're ourselves entrepreneurs. We understand your journey, we understand, what can help you, and we're, before anything, enablers, because we understand this is your journey, and we're just here to help you, and be there as a mentor on the journey. So we're going to talk about our values very quickly. So this is a place on birthplace of Silicon Valley. So if you know the story, this is a garage of Hewlett-Packard. So what happened is these two kids dropped out of technical jobs in corporates to start this company. Their names were respectively Hewlett and Packard. And they were actually encouraged by his teacher called Frederick Talman. So now, this is what we believe in. First of all, start small, okay? Start small, dare to be the first one to do something. If you're gonna do something, don't be afraid that it won't work. Launch your idea, adjust it, look at the market, look at what you're doing, look at the issues, go for it. And another thing we also really believe in is that the startups can really use mentors. The mentors will encourage you to do things that has not been done before, because I understand we're all scared to do something that's new, right? So the mentor will help you with that. And if it's a very positive-minded mentor, the mentor will bring other mentors who are equally positive-minded to help you in the journey. So that for us is really important. Before anything, we invest in people. We invest in serial entrepreneurs. Most of the entrepreneurs you've seen in the first slide have actually done at least 2 companies, and if not 4, with us. Okay? So these are our values. So our present focus in Africa is about agriculture, because you might know the price of agriculture products have gone up by 30% over last month. So we actually really refocused that recently.
Okay, I would like you to finish up on where what you were talking about the areas that you invest, or the countries that you invest in. Please, quiet. You were talking about your focus, where you focus in Africa. Please just go ahead and talk about it.
Okay, so our focus in Africa, I have to say we came in with a climate focus, but then climate can be a lot of things, right? You've got climate adaptation, climate change, how to change the way we live and all that, okay. But you know, recently we had this Ukraine story, and you know, food prices have gone up by 30% in a month. And I have to say, this is the first time seeing that ever in my life. I live in Asia, I grew up in Asia, and we've had crisis, you know, in 1998, we didn't see this. We didn't have that, okay? So I realized this here, we have different issues to Africa, and so we refocused that really immediately onto the climate issues. So the first thing, we were already starting to invest into logistic companies that have a climate angle. That's the first thing. And now we're also now focusing on agriculture. So I'm going to show you something. This is one of the things, for instance, that we do. So, you know, we have plastic bags and all that stuff, right? So when we talked previously, you know, we're talking about clean tech and agri-tech. This is a combination of both. We can grow giant potatoes that we make into shopping bags. And so in this project where we invested, so the project is called NB Innovation. It has 41 patents in bioplastics and plastic recycling, and we co-invested with Paris region, Tyson Group, and IIG services in Los Angeles, so really to make it a usable solution. So
I'm sorry, I just go for another question. So I think what's important for here today, for most of the audience and the other startups, is how can you make a difference in Africa? Because I understand you have a big track record in helping entrepreneurs and building companies, but what about Africa? Why an African entrepreneur should choose you as a VC?
Okay, I'm going to ask you to reprecise the question. What do you think is special to Africa?
No, my question is like, why an African entrepreneur should choose you as a venture capital firm?
Well, we're here. First of all, we sit in Dakar. Yeah, you know, a lot of people work from outside Africa, and we don't do that. We're put in the field. We're here, yeah, full time. So first of all, that's first thing. And second thing is, I would say, if we're here, it's also because I've been coming for 11 years. I first came here to build a power plant. Another risk activity. So, you see, we are here because we've actually seen the ecosystem evolve over the last 11 years, and we're boots on the ground, and you know.
Remind me not to be ever judged by you guys.
Great. Hello, everyone. First of all, I just want to start with a couple of disclaimers. You can see our intro page, Founders Factory, we are big on color. If you're an African, you would know how African is bright because of color. And for the most part, we actually don't integrate with entrepreneurs nor founders who are not embracing color. You can see the type of sneakers that I'm wearing. So we want people who are colorful because of we representing Africa. Secondly, we are a very a crazy bunch of people. If you come to our offices, you'll see these big trees that we have invested in. We're actually growing fruits in our office, and that is how we are embracing Africa. Thirdly, what we do is if you look at our meeting rooms, they all look like shacks, right? Because for the most part, 80% of Africa, people live in shacks. So our meeting room actually take that direction. Lastly, we are founder friendly. We are founder first. So I'm going to flip this around slightly, and I'm going to ask our judges one question. What are you expecting from a VC or from an ecosystem player? What would you say is your expectation as a founder?
As a founder, especially at the seed stage, we need more VC writing check at the seed stage so that we have a chance to have more startup getting at a further, more long-term stage.
Awesome. So that's what Founders Factory does. Great. We are focusing on developing, entrepreneurs at the early stage. So Founders Factory is a venture development company. We invest in early stage companies. We, build commercial impact returns for both our investors and the economy. We focus really on creating the backbone of Africa, or rather we are building the backbone of Africa to essentially ensure that we are building and increasing top of the funnel for VCs. Our vision is very simple: to create a thriving African startup economy. Our mission, we work with very early stage founders across Africa. My name is Bongani. I'm the managing director of Founders Factory. I'm 20 years into this game. I've built 3 businesses myself, so I understand the challenges of working with founders. Thirdly is, if you look at most other regions, they actually deploy 20-25% of their economy into startup environment, whereas Africa is actually completely different. They're deploying about 8%. How can we grow that? Founders Factory is here to do that. We are represented in multiple regions. You can see the areas in red. That's where we are present, and we are launching more offices in 2022. We are a Pan-African company. We are currently in South Africa, in Joburg. We're in Nigeria, we're in Kenya, Uganda, and Ghana. Founders Factory, as a family of companies, we have built over 200 companies globally. And on the left-hand side, you can see some of our portfolio companies. On the right-hand side, we've raised more than 150 million from corporates, as we are a corporate-backed company. And those are some of the ILPs who are currently supporting us in building across Africa. Founders Factory Africa specifically, is focusing on fintech, health, and agri-tech. What are we solving for? On the far left, entrepreneurs are struggling with trying to figure out a search and validation process, and they spend too much time trying to figure out what is it that they need to build. On the right-hand side, this is what we are trying to get them to. So we start with them doing the search and validation, and we move them across to scale and execution. In most cases, founders and investors, they're looking for that one thing. On the left-hand side, you'll see that one tick going down. We don't ask for that. We look on the right-hand side. We need to understand, as you go through the journey, what are the things that are changing in order for you to start to realize the J-curve. We, as Founders Factory, we have over 40 people that we have in our team. We deploy about 5 to 10 people into our startups so that we can co-create. We can invest capital into early stage businesses. We help them with growth. We invest into their trajectory of building, and we deliver an integrated impact and financial returns. How do we do this? We deploy about 6 to 7 people from product growth, technology investments, partnerships, and talent into a startup to essentially build with them for a 6-month period. We have 2 programs. We've got Build and Scale. Scale, we look for early stage startups, where we essentially work with startups to figure out what a product market fit is. On the build side, we essentially build from scratch with them. We build concepts. We put in capital into them. Right, so I'll pause. Happy to take questions.
Yes, very good presentation. Thank you. Since Founder Factory Africa, since you invest at all stage, my question goes a bit to, if you have a startup without a product, what are the 3 most important criteria you will look for in order to write a check?
Great question. Because we start from scratch, as we said, a build program, we actually build concepts ourselves from scratch. For the most part, what we do is we look at the market opportunity, how big the market is. We look at the founder. Is the founder entrenched and has a background in that problem? And are we well poised as Founders Factory to be able to support that specific market? As I said, we operate in 3 verticals, which is health, agri-tech, and fintech. So we look at those 3 things and say, are we going to be able to provide that unfair advantage to a startup to be able to move them further faster? And that's how we integrate and invest into a startup.
When do you exit from the startup you've funded? Have you exited from any of those business, or do
We,
you have a timeline?
we haven't exited. We are 3 years into this journey. We've invested into 40 businesses to date. We've got about 8 businesses in Series A today. We are continuing to build. We're looking to build about 88 businesses over the next 5 years. In 3 years, we still have 2 more years of deploying capital. From an exit perspective, we're supporting businesses up until when they decide to exit, and that's when we start to get our money back.
And what's your plan for Francophone?
That's why I'm here, right? So we are investing in all of these markets. So what we are now trying to do is to look at how can we penetrate this market. The way we work is we don't just put in capital. We look at how can we find local on the ground to be able to build with founders, so that we don't give advice, we give hands-on support. So we make sure that we hire locals who understand the ground's roots problems so that they can build with entrepreneurs. So the reason why we came here is to understand this market and to figure out how we can be able to collaborate and create co-working relationships with people on the ground to be able to build together. The way we think ourselves, we are not competing, we are an API. What that means is we look for players that can partner with us so that we can collaborate, because all of us sitting here, we are here to build for Africa. So we think ourselves as that API to be able to build with everyone in the market. So we're looking for partners. More questions?
Okay, so yeah, another question. Since you're here in Dakar looking how to enter the Francophone African country, so are you working with a specific accelerator in Dakar, in Francophone countries so far?
That's what we're looking for. So if you're an investor, you're here, talk to us. If you are Startup Bootcamp, we are here to partner with you so that we can build together. So as I said, we're an API. So whoever wants to talk to us in how we can build in Dakar and the rest of Francophone, we are here to do that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the investors. It was lovely seeing investors so nervous, and lovely seeing startups gruesome and asking all the right questions with so much confidence and conviction. Well done, judges. Judges, well done. Can we give the judges a round of applause? You did very well. Thank you so much. We are coming towards the fun part of the past 3 days. In true African culture, when one has had a ceremony. So I'm the person who was holding the ceremony together, be it a wedding, funeral, you have this one person who's, we'll call it MC, but we don't have MCs in our culture. I don't even know what MC is in isiXhosa. So you'd have this one person that is nominated by the family in this instance being AfricArena, to do the MCing, which is what I was doing. But towards the end, the most important parts of a ceremony is the opening and the closing. I've held it all together throughout the past 2 days. Very well so, thank you very much. Joking. But the most important part in African culture is the closing, because when you do the closing, you bring an elder in the family. It has nothing to do with age, but rather wisdom. Or let me rephrase, you bring a wiser person to come in, conclude, wrap up, and thank. I'll hand over to our director, Christoph, to do the elderly wisdom.
Thank you. I don't know about why wisdom, but yeah, age, definitely. I've definitely done the miles. Well, I think it was awesome. What do you think? Sorry, is that all you have to say? It was awesome. So it was great to have you, and I'd like to thank the many people who traveled hours, tens of hours, to travel to Cape Town, to Dakar for this event. Some went from really far away. The top travel time was something like 35 hours from Tokyo. I think it was Ricky, so yeah, you got the award for that, Ricky, well done.
So I think, it was awesome 2 days of being together, and it is really great to be together. I mean, I think this COVID thing, let's get it out of the way, and being back together, having this event, and trying to build back better is really definitely a theme that we've discussed through these last 2 days. And for us, we've had the event at the VC Unconference in Sally at the end of last week. We had the boot camp at the DARE D-Hub on Monday. These 2 days summit. Tomorrow we still have the Africa VC there with some of you, and some of the startups that you saw pitching have qualified for being there tomorrow. It was really an exciting week. The way I feel about it after these last 6 days is that this ecosystem is really special, and something is happening. I was saying on the first day at the opening that we were here back in 2018, and we really bet on Francophone Africa and in Dakar, and I really feel as an investor of my time and our investment in this ecosystem, we are getting the return, and the return is you being here, doing deals, connecting, and taking it further. So I look forward to the future, and do you want us to do another AfricArena event in Dakar next year? Or shall we go to Lagos? Or shall we go to Accra? Or shall we go to Cotonou? Yes, Cotonou maybe, okay. Lagos. Dakar. How many for Dakar? No, I don't hear anything, Dakar. Dakar? Lagos? Oh, Lagos, Dakar, it's close. All right, we'll think about it. But that is going to depend on our great partners. And I'd like to thank again all the people who supported us on this journey. So our financial partners, first and foremost, so the Senegalese government through the DARE, which was really a very strong partner for these last 2 years. Amazon, I think they were awesome. They were here providing technical support, explaining our entrepreneurs how they can build and scale, engaging with our investors, because AWS has an investor program to help their portfolio companies. And AWS has been a partner of AfricArena for the last 5 years now, and they've been increasing their support of our program every year. And one of the benefits of all the startups that are here today is that they will each receive $10,000 in AWS credit, all of them, as part of the qualification through the program. Those that will receive an award, those 5 awards going to the startup, will get 25,000 AWS credit. So that's quite a big credit to build and scale their tech. In addition to that, they will qualify to attend our AfricArena Grand Summit in Cape Town next November. So this is what's for the taking here. We also had support from FMO. Marike did a fabulous speech of the fantastic work they're doing. I mean, they are one of to me, the most active and dynamic DFI supporting the African ecosystem. So, I'd like to really, you to give them a round of applause together with the DARE and AWS. Thank you, Marike, Robert, and Tessa for being with us for these last 3 days. We also had support for OIF, Francophone Africa. Was an important thing in this event and in our hearts. So I'd like to thank Claire and the OEF for the support that they are providing to AfricArena for this event, but they will also be at our Paris event in a few weeks, so thank you for that. And then we had the support of United Nations ITC. ITC has been a partner of AfricArena for the last 3 years. Some of the startups that were here came from the ITC program, so Mustafa and the entire ITC team, thank you for your support. We really appreciate it. And then, we have our ecosystem partners. And amongst that, we had the French Embassy in Senegal, which helped us support partly the VC Unconference. Digital Collective Africa, which is an alliance of investors and founders network. And AFCA, I think this idea of doing a week of integrated events between VC Unconference, Founders Bootcamp, the AFCA PE conference, the AFCA VC Day, and the summit enabled us to have over 300 investors in town for the week. And we had over 25 founders coming from 7 countries, plus all the local tech ecosystem. I think it's a good idea to continue with this type of approach, right? So we'll try to continue to build on that. I also would like to thank the team. This wouldn't be possible without a great team. So first of all, our #1 dancer, Ndileka. Thank you so much for your moves and for your energy to this event. It was really great. And then, you know, our team at the back, that you don't always see them, but we have Crosby, who is doing our social media amplification. I don't know how many millions of impressions you got over the last few days, but this is going to go a long way to amplify the story of our investors and startups. Nathaniel, who's been wearing I don't know how many hats. Nathaniel doesn't sleep, and he always carries a monitor. Well done, Nathaniel. He's been in charge of liaising with the speakers and the startups, and I think, you know, he's achieved a lot. We are a very small team, so, you know, the energy of the team matters. Then we have Nicolas, our production manager. He's put together a beautiful stage and ensured that everything was smooth. So, you know, thanks, Nicolas, coming all the way from Cape Town. Kim, who's been at the door, you know, ensuring that we could get great service to our guests. And I also like to thank the back office team in Cape Town, Dan, Henry, Sandrine, and all the others, making sure that the streaming, and we had hundreds and over 1,000 people watching this event online already, so we're really very pleased with the fact that we actually many more people enjoying the event online on LinkedIn, YouTube, mobile apps, and our website, so this is great. And I think you'll be able to replay the entire event at home, on the plane, when you're traveling back, seeing the pitch again, and so forth, and it's quite key to what we do. Also, thank you to the team at the back there that's been ensuring fantastic AV and streaming support. Well done, Badu and the team for the job, you know. I'm very happy to have found a great team in Senegal to do that. So I think I've thanked everybody. It's time for me to talk a bit about where we're going next, and that's Paris. I think I said on the first day, one of the important things for us is to build bridges. And the bridges between Europe and Africa is one of the major things that we're trying to work on. So, you know, we've decided this year, as COVID was giving us a bit of respite, to resume the AfricArena tour outside of Africa. So we do the regional events to find startups and connect the ecosystem between themselves. But before COVID, we were doing events in the US, in Europe, in Asia, to take the story of entrepreneurs outside of Africa to bring more investors and more corporates. We resume that. So June 14 will be in Paris for Viva AfricArena, the investor event before VivaTech. It will be an event for startups to connect with investors in Europe, corporate VC, angels, and also to meet fellow European startups, to build bridges and collaboration bridges with European startups, and also to attract European startups to Africa. So this is a two-way street, and we have got to work together on this. So please join us for this. Some of the startups that will be qualified for Cape Town and others will benefit from us taking them to Paris. So this is an extra good news. The event will take place in the Temple of French Tech, Station F. So we're going to make this building the Temple of African Tech for a day, right? So be with us. We need you. We're counting on you. And I think Paris in June, it's really a great place to be. So we hope to see you there. You want to find a ticket, if you're not a startup pitching, you go on Eventbrite. You can scan that QR code there. We're still running super early bird, and we're still looking for sponsors, by the way. So this is quite an expensive operation. And we look forward to support from our partners on that. Any information you need from the team, you can reach out to us and our contacts there. This is now the final part of this event, and I'd like to call on stage our anchor partner for the award ceremony. Karine Vavasseur from DARE. Can you please join me on stage? I think you need a handheld mic. Yeah, give a round of applause to DARE and Karine, representing the delegate who couldn't be with us. How do you feel, Karine? Mike is a little late.
Doing super good. We've been really honored to have all these great stakeholders, ecosystem builders, investors coming to Dakar during this week with the AFCA and the AfricArena, and we really hope that this is just the beginning of something bigger that we can really build together. The delegate would have loved to be with us today. Also, the General Secretary wanted to be with us. Unfortunately, it wasn't possible. But I'm honored also to represent the DAF for the awards ceremony. So thank you so much. Thank you, AfricArena, of course. Thank you for all of you who have been coming to Dakar for this event. And I hope that you have been also enjoying your time apart from discussing about the deal flows and all of this. I really hope you have had a bit of time to discover a bit more our great city and great country. And that next time, who knows, maybe you will come for even longer this time.
Yeah, I think we're going to get 2 weeks next year, right?
We should.
Okay, so are the awards ready? Yes. The first award we are announcing is the best West African seed, and you had a seed track with, I think, 12 of 13 startups. So Karen, can you unveil the winner and call them on stage? You had opened a little paper.
And the winner is Survey 54.
Yay! Well done! Congrats.
Thank you. Oh, thanks.
You put it this way?
This way?
I think it's like that, yeah.
Do you want to say a few words, Mike?
Me?
Yes, you.
I don't know what to say, but really happy and really proud. So thank you very much, all the judges, for voting. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we see you in Cape Town.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Now, the second award is for the best West Africa Series A. Suspense.
Woo! I feel the pressure, you know. So it starts with a C, and it's Crowdivest.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Well done.
Thank you.
I'm so speechless because I wasn't expecting to get anything out of, this. But I want to say a huge thank you to Startup Bootcamp, Philip, Maia, Wale, Jerry, my husband. Thank you for being here. My 5-month-old baby, I think I'll dedicate this to her because I've had to be here for 3 weeks now and left her home. And thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Well done.
Yes.
And we see you in Cape Town. Great. Now, we are awarding the best West African growth startup. So that was heavy competition there with some heavyweights. So let's see who won that one.
And the winner is Gozem.
Bravo les gars.
Bravo. Félicitations. Bravo. Il faudra vous partager ça en deux.
Qui parle
Je vais faire la partie française, je laisserai Grégory faire la partie anglaise. Moi, mon message, il est surtout pour toutes nos équipes qui sont à Lomé, à Cotonou, à Porto Novo, à Libreville, à Douala, à Takpamé, à Anéo. Je ne veux pas dire toutes les villes où on est en Afrique. Tous ces gens qui travaillent tellement dur chez Gozem pour qu'on soit là ici on stage et qui pourront regarder ça sur YouTube. Et c'est pour eux ce grand remerciement.
Thanks everyone, and to repeat, Raphael, we are present in many cities in our countries in Togo, Benin, Gabon and Cameroon. and we want to thank our team. We are 350, and the team is amazing and growing the ecosystem with us. And thanks to AWS for the credit.
I think you make use of it. Well done, and we see you in Cape Town. Now, our fourth award is for the most innovative business model, awarding the company that retained the interest of the judge in terms of their business model and how interesting and promising and high potential it is. So, which company is the most innovative business model?
The company that has the most innovative business model is Bizao.
Oh.
Merci, thank you. Thank you, the judges. Thank you, the team. Guys, come here. Don't stay over there. Come. Yeah, this is. I'm just the founder, you know. Now there's 50 of us doing all the job across Dakar, Abidjan, Paris, Tunis, and many other countries. So kudos to them. They are the real winners.
You guys want to say something? Want to add a word?
Come on, you're in Senegal to speak.
Je vais m'exprimer en français.
Bah, vas-y.
Ok, merci beaucoup vraiment pour ce concours. Merci beaucoup pour le. Je n'ai même pas le mot pour m'exprimer, tellement qu'aujourd'hui c'est vraiment innovant. Mais vraiment, on remercie vraiment tout l'effort de nos équipes qui sont derrière. Et merci à tous aussi pour ce prix. On n'a pas les mots.
Bon, merci. On see you in Cape Town. Merci, les gars. Salut. And now, the last awards going to entrepreneur is the most promising entrepreneur. The entrepreneur has been singled out for his or her high potential to grow and scale and become a growth startup. And the winner is...
So this entrepreneur, you should really keep taking an eye on him. It's a man. It's Umar Bass from Yobante Express.
Yay!
You can also invest more money on him.
Thank you so much. Thank you, the judges. Thank you, the public. I'm humbled and honored for this prize. And thank you, AfricArena, for organizing this amazing and huge event in Dakar, our hometown. So I'm humbled and honored. Thanks.
You need to keep doing that. Well done.
Thank you, Corinne.
Yeah. I don't know what. Did they score the... So, I don't know, can I have the scores of the judges? Because there's nothing written on there. Oh, it's on my phone, sorry. This was the last pitch, so obviously the results have just been compiled. So I will announce it because it's there. So the most attractive investor award goes to, you know, these three investors were very different. Let me start there. There is not going to be any losers, all right? You guys are right there. But obviously we had an LP, FMO, we had an impact investor, you know, Jean, right? Lynn, sorry, and we had ecosystem builder. So it's a bit apples and bananas. So I think what I understand is that the judge really scored the pitch. And the winner of that is Founders Factory Africa, Mongani. Well done. I think you're going to have to talk to FMO now. Maybe, you know, you do a deal. Bongani. It was great to have you coming all the way from Cape Town.
No, thank you. I think this is a really great testament that Africa needs ecosystem players. So I think, as you said, it's not about whether LPs or DFIs are not the right players. I think this is really a confirmation that what Startup Bootcamp is doing, Founders Factory Africa, and the rest of ecosystem players is really what we need in the continent, because Africa is a huge geography with small investable businesses. So in order to solve for that problem, we need to build on the ground up to increase the top of the funnel for investable businesses so that we can build the economy. Thank you.
Thanks, Bongani. And see you in Cape Town. Okay. Well, this is it. So I'm sorry, I'm going to ask all the award winners to come back on stage for a group picture, if you don't mind. So the companies, and Bongani, you can come back, sorry. Rajiv, please join him on stage, because it's a team effort, right? We're just doing a group picture for all the winners. If we can have everybody, the photographs, the photographer, and yeah, cool. So the big guys at the back, of course. So this is AfricArena West Africa Summit 2022. Yay! Well done to you guys. Some energy. Now can I ask the AfricArena team and all the startups that pitch to come on stage for a group picture with even more? Come at the front there, please. Come on, guys. Team members. And I realized that I forgot to mention Patrick from the team. My God. Patrick, our storyteller. And the Dare team. Karen is asking you for you to come on stage. Dare team, the partners. Someone from the FMO, if one of you can come there. I mean, you've been supportive. French Embassy, anyone? Orange Ventures, they're already gone on vacation. Okay, they're not here. Okay? Everybody's here? Come on, Pap Madi, come on, come on, come on. Ready? 3, 2, 1. AfricArena! Thank you. Tous les mois, quasi. Thank you. So we see you next year, and for those who can, next month in Paris. Well done to all. Good.